So what? Give me something exciting. Make me excited about this stuff. You're talking about digital signatures and credentials and blocks of JSON LD, and who cares? Who the hell cares? Show me something exciting that you can do with this. I turn to a friend for this. Imagine what you can do if you have access to millions of pieces of verifiable data distributed around the world, controlled by the people who actually own it and created it. And you had a system where you could bring that together and build applications on top of data that you trusted because you could see where it came from, and you trusted the people who provided it. What could you do with that? It's called the Distributed Knowledge Graph, and the company behind that is OriginTrail. Please welcome our sponsor, Mr. Jurij Skornik.
Thanks, Phil. That's actually a very good introduction, better than I would have said it, so thanks for that. Thanks for having me today. I'm going to talk about, just see if I can, oops, wrong button. I'm going to talk about how verifiable credentials are actually combined and used in a bit of a different way as we transition from the attention economy to the intention economy, and actually how the also standards from GS1 such as digital link are actually facilitating a trusted way of doing that. But before we get into all of the details, right now we're at a bit of a crossroad, or a bit of a transition, where we're transitioning from the attention economy to the intention economy. And by the attention economy, what we mean by that is, brands, businesses, pretty much everybody is competing for our attention, right? That's a scarce resource. And what happens is that we get bombarded with ads through different content, algorithms that are trying to get the most relevant content to us. And often this leads to information overloads. There were a bunch of privacy concerns. So what the intention economy is, the thing that we're transitioning to, is really shifting the power towards the consumer. That means that we have instead of being bombarded with ads, the consumer actually expresses intent, and that kind of leads to much more intent-driven, personalized interactions for consumers to actually experience. Now, this shift from attention to intention is driven by a convergence of different data points, which we'll talk about a little bit later, can be all expressed as verifiable credentials. And those data points on the brand side, we have everything from product information, promotions and campaigns, sustainability data, stock availability, anything you would think around where you also think GS1 standards, right? So we have on the one hand that, and then on the consumer side, we have consumer preferences, purchase history, wearables data that is getting more and more popular, any budget constraints that a specific consumer might have, social media interactions. So all of these things you need to kind of understand the intent and to do something with it. And much of this data, as we talked about already in the other session that we had, is often private, it's often secured, it needs to be handled with trust. And we'll go into a bit more detail in the next slides, but at the center of all of this, what's facilitating this transition are actually, it's AI, but not just any AI, it's AI agents, agentic AI. And before kind of confusing everybody in the room, how many, maybe just by a show of hands, are familiar with AI agents and agentic AI compared to just like regular generative AI? Maybe just a show of hands. Okay, I see a couple, but in a nutshell, traditional Gen AI, such as you go to ChatGPT, you ask a question, you get an answer, right? You don't know really whether it's true or not, no real way to verify it. AI agents, they go a step further. So AI agents are essentially frameworks where AI can do things autonomously, can execute tasks, can even perform actions on behalf of either a consumer, on behalf of brands. And this is kind of the main driver behind this transition into intention economy. And if we have AI agents executing actions and kind of shaping our intent, then is already a very important sign that the data that they, underlying data that they use needs to be trusted, needs to be verifiable, and often also needs to be secure. And while this shift to the intention economy is it's a very exciting thing, right? There are risks. Actually, there's a whole bunch of risks, and one of them here, it's a good quote from Harvard Data Science Review from a piece called "Beware the Intention Economy," where they expressed concern that trust and privacy actually are not respected and will not be respected enough once we transition, and that instead of AI actually helping, so agents actually helping to capture our intent and understand it, are actually going to be shaping it. So that leads to all sorts of influence, dangers of us being influenced in a way that it wasn't possible before because these things didn't exist. And so this is from this piece. We have a bunch of similar research pieces coming out also from Cambridge University, where the concern is that AI agents might actually covertly try to shape our decisions rather than just assist us in understanding our intent. And this raises a whole bunch of questions around ethical AI, transparency, and how to do this. But the key takeaway at the end of the day is that if this transition is to happen in a successful and proper way, we need trust, and we need privacy, and we need verifiability. And we need frameworks and infrastructure that allows us to do this in this way and actually ensure that consumers maintain a certain level of control. And this is really what the decentralized knowledge graph by OriginTrail combined with GS1 standards is really all about. So if we think about GS1 powered product information, so everything we talked about before that already is expressed in GS1 standards, so EPCIS events, product information, location informations, all of these things are just the tip of the iceberg, right? At the end of the day. Imagine we could connect all of these things together with individual consumer data that is actually anything from consumers' preferences to purchase histories, wearables data, wellness goals that individuals, consumers might have, social media activities, budget constraints, and so on and so forth. And we could have all of this connected in a single knowledge graph that are where every piece of this knowledge are actually verifiable credentials. So for every piece of this connected knowledge, you could find out exactly who issued it, what happened to it, was it updated, was it maybe ownership was changed, and maintain that knowledge in the hands of the individuals or organizations that issued it. And they would get to decide, I want to share this, or I want this to be public, I want to share this with my business partners, or I want something to be completely private. I don't want to share, for example, my budget constraints as an individual or wellness goals that I have. But it is important to have that access when we're talking about AI agents, because they, when they do have access to knowledge like this, verifiable knowledge, then they can actually lead this and help us understand our intent, help us execute autonomous actions that are actually what we want to do. And they're doing this in a trusted and more reliable way. And what's the result out of all of this? So we have a win-win situation here for consumers, because they get agents that are more personalized to them, so they get more tailored experiences and intent-driven actions. And at the same time, brands get to understand with their agents their consumers a lot better, because they have access to more connected and rich data, verifiable data to actually work with. And why are these agents safe, reliable, and secure? Well, they use, because they use the decentralized knowledge graph, they use actually both sides of what we call the AI brain. So we have the decentralized knowledge graph, which is more factual. It's deterministic, logical, has the access to the verifiable knowledge. And then on the other hand, we have the generative AI models that are probabilistic, they are more predictive, but they enable this natural interaction that the left part of the brain does not. And why this matters is because in this kind of composition, you get both. You get, you have ensured, so the left side, the decentralized knowledge graph, ensures that we have trust and reliability. So we have that verifiable knowledge that uses GS1 standards, but also any other type of standards that are out there that can be used. And then connected data. And at the same time, then on the other hand, we have the generative AI, which is able to provide agents with that facility to tap into that knowledge, use it, and then execute certain actions. So recognize our intent and drive it further. And the result is what? We have agents that are intelligence, trusted, and of course intent-driven, because they have access to all of this information about the consumers and brands alike. And how does this all kind of look like in the end from I don't want to go in deep into the technology, but how it looks like very briefly from an architectural point of view. We have that trust layer, which is also the foundation for where verifiable credentials are issued. So those are different blockchains that the decentralized knowledge graph can work with. We have the knowledge graph, so knowledge base, where all of these either public pieces or private pieces of information of knowledge are connected. And then we have the verifiable AI on top, which are the agents that are looking into that knowledge base based on what they can access and doing cool stuff based on what intent we had. And that's kind of a quick intro into how this intention economy could look like done in a trusted and verifiable way. And just taking also a step back looking at the history also of GS1, and we've been working with GS1 or partnered with GS1 for quite a number of years. But the efficiency revolution started in 1974 when the first barcode was scanned. We are now in the last years. We put 2024 here. I know, Phil, you've been working on this for quite a bit longer, but it feels like last year was the year where QR codes and digital link codes really started picking up. So have this revolution of digitizing the products, connecting them to online, them being able to connecting them to dynamic and hopefully verifiable product data online. And then now in 2025, when we have all of this foundation and going forward, we can actually use this combination of verifiable data on the decentralized knowledge graph, which uses GS1 digital, so the GS1 standards uses digital link to access it, and the AI agents to perform tasks autonomously on our behalf. So it might sound also a little bit futuristic, but these things are already happening, and there are a number of actually ways to use agents already with the decentralized knowledge graph, but also in a broader way. And I'd like to show you actually a quick demo of how this autonomous shopping experience with using the decentralized knowledge graph and GS1 standards could actually look like. And I'll ask the tech team to play the video. We're ready. Okay, so here we have a bottle of your favorite Prosecco. Imagine you take out the phone, you scan it, digital access, the AI agent access the digital link provided information, and adds it as a memory into your knowledge bank. And then you have an interaction with your agent. It can be on X, as I did here, but you can have it anywhere, right? So omni-channel interaction with agents is becoming a thing, so you can interact with the same agent on Telegram, on WhatsApp, or wherever else you would want. And now I can ask him, for example, do you remember that bottle of Prosecco that we liked last week, and suggest something that would go along actually with that. And what's happening now is that agent, because we added the digital link, took us to the product data and we added it to the decentralized knowledge graph, the agent will actually find that piece of knowledge. Remember, it will take that memory and remember what we actually, what the Prosecco that we had. And here we had it, right? So there's this specific brand of Prosecco that the agent remembered, and it suggests some pairing that would go along with it. But it doesn't only suggest the pairing; it also suggests, asks us what do we want to, we want them to find the best deals. So say, of course, we find the best. We want to see what the best deals are, and now the agent will actually go online, look into different marketplaces, find the best prices for the products that it recommended, and actually here in this case, it found some things on Amazon for a total of $12.98. And will ask us to confirm the purchase. And all we need to do as interacting with the agent said, sure thing, go ahead, that sounds great. and then the agent in the back, because it has all of the information it needs also to actually make that purchase in the private components of our knowledge base, it is able to actually execute that purchase, send us an email confirmation, and it should actually show it now. So we have the order confirmed, we have the email in our inbox, and then the next thing that happens, which is very important, is actually that all of this whole interaction that we just had will also be created as a memory on the decentralized knowledge graph, so that next time when we interact with the agent, it will know. It will know that we added that we bought, that we purchased these additional items. It will know what we talked about, and this is how it actually looks like on the decentralized knowledge graph. It's what we call a knowledge asset. All of these are issued as verifiable credentials on the graph, so each of them will have represented also by an NFT token that can also be transferred in terms of ownership. But the agent then has access to this if it's, of course, your private agent, and if you have private access, has access to your private data. And just a quick summary of the conversation, how this kind of looked like. And this was on X with the two locked profiles. You can do this on, have these interactions really across a variety of channels. Like I mentioned before, Telegram, WhatsApp, even on our own OriginTrail Edge node, you could interact with these agents in a similar manner. And this is really kind of where we see how we see the intention economy functioning well with trust, with verifiability, and all based on verifiable credentials at the end of the day.